Hello and welcome to another episode of Sci-Fi Night Tipsy Talk. I'm your host, Sebastian Mendel Martinez, and this is basically more or less a tipsy little podcast segment. Started off earlier with Joseph Ari when we were reviewing the episodes of the 11th season of the X-Files, and it is branching out into just becoming the Sci-Fi Night podcast, basically. So, I am joined by a very special guest, my good friend Taish. Taish, why don't you say hello and present yourself?
Hello, hi. This thing of very special guest is a lie. I'm not special at all. I'm just one of Sebastian's friends, and we decided to watch a couple movies coming up to the holidays, right?
Exactly. It is the season to be jolly. It is December, the season of Christmas movies. And we have two very different films to talk about. Both kind of scary, but in very different ways. So let's just jump right into it. All right, so our first movie is the 2012 film Silent Night. It is a horror film, and I may not have said this beforehand, but it is actually a loose remake of Silent Night, Deadly Night, cult classic. Directed by, I think his name is Stephen C. Miller, who has done a lot of horror stuff, but nothing I've ever heard of. And it's got a very simple plot. It's basically just, there's a guy in a Santa suit wreaking havoc on Christmas Eve, killing people in horribly violent ways. It is up to a lone police deputy. She does have some help, but...
She does have help.
But they're not super helpful to her.
No.
But yeah, basically she is trying to figure out who is committing these murders and stop the evil Santa killer. So that's pretty much it, because there's not a whole lot of plot in the movie. It's basically just Santa kills a lot of people and the cops are trying to figure it out.
So you say it's a remake from Silent Night, Deadly Night? Have you seen that one?
Yes, I have not seen all the sequels. I think there's like 5 sequels to it.
There's so many.
Yeah.
I looked up as well. I was like, oh god, I quit trying to learn the lore.
Yeah.
Very complicated.
Well, you've probably seen the that meme, the garbage day, and a guy shoots another guy holding a trash can.
Alright, yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
I vaguely remember
it was
this.
used in a lot of memes and stuff like that, but that's from Silent Night, Deadly Night 2, which is like the most funny and probably the most well-known in terms of so bad it's good scenes and stuff like that.
So, can you tell me why did we watch the remake and not the original one? Or it was just a coincidence?
Mostly just I mean, I was thinking more like modern-ish stuff.
Alright.
And the first one is a little harder to get through. It's not very good. None of the Silent Night, Deadly Night movies are really good. They all have a lot of like issues.
No, not that I mind though. This film, for all it's worth, it stands on its own.
Yeah, the thing is too, it's a very loose remake. It's like you don't really have to have watched the previous ones to see this one.
No.
It's basically just the overall premise of a crazy guy in a Santa suit killing people.
Yeah, I got that. Yeah, I got that.
And that's pretty much the only thing that's left. They leave out like the mental institution stuff and like the backstory of the main villain. Like all that stuff is left out.
I read it up though that they do pay homage to the original, and they have kind of an asylum scene, which there's like an elderly like old guy who's like, oh, clocked out, and then he goes like, Christmas Eve is a dangerous day.
Yeah,
the
scariest night of the year.
Scariest night of the year. Like, dude, come on, it's not. It's pretty. They're alive. But
it's really not the scariest time of year.
Yeah, but then it gets you go into the mystery of who is the killer, who is the Santa killer with the mask.
And in the end, it doesn't really matter.
Doesn't matter whatsoever.
So the movie starts off with a bang. Santa killing people just right away. Blood effects on display right away.
First kill, it's what? Annoying teenage girl, daughter of Sex and the City's Charlotte.
Oh yeah.
No,
the first kill is actually the police deputy who gets electrocuted with Christmas lights somehow.
Oh yeah, all right.
And his eyes explode with not great looking CGI blood.
Yeah, when we were watching, we were discussing like, what do you do if there's like a serial killer that's trying to kill you? Supposedly, you believe it's because you cheated with his wife, like you're fucking his wife, and we agree that like, just like, don't ever admit to it, or much less say that she was asking for it. But yeah, he gets electrocuted with some Christmas lights in the head. That is the most chill kill in the movie.
Well, there are some strangulations too with Christmas lights that aren't very violent either. But yeah, aside from that, everything else is horribly bloody. Really violent, gory, over the top at some points.
Blood comes from everywhere. Like the axe explodes in blood before it reaches somebody's head. The axe bleeds on itself. But
I will say, well, like it starts off like it's a strong, like effective opening. Like it really like hits you in the gut right away. Like, oh shit, like this is happening like right now.
Oh man, I didn't like it very much. Like I think two things that they missed a big opportunity with the exposed brain stuff. You know, they did like the guy's like his scalp's burned down and stuff. But
well, I mean, his eyes explode, which is
But when she finds the body, I think they could have done it way gorier. I think it was pretty tame, that scene.
Yeah.
And it also gave me the impression that the Santa was about, because for a while in the movie, you get the impression that he kills people who, quote unquote, deserve to be killed.
Yeah, people
who've been naughty.
Naughty, yeah.
Yeah, so you think he's actually like hunting for somebody. But that was one of my biggest problems with the movie, that we can talk about it later. But like the disconnect between what is Santa's mission, you know, and who Santa turns out to be in the end.
Yeah.
But all right, what was your favorite death?
Favorite death, hands down, the boyfriend of the mayor's daughter, whose head just gets like split in half basically with an axe.
Yeah, but again, no brains. There should have been more brains.
Probably, I don't know. I still thought it was a pretty effective kill. I mean, that guy didn't seem to have a whole lot of brains anyway. So.
It was alright. That wasn't even on my top 3 though.
What? Okay, what was your favorite kill then?
Girl in the.
Oh right, in the
naked girl
wood chipper.
In the wood chipper, yeah.
So yeah, that is something that must be like. This is the most mean-spirited Christmas film you'll probably ever see.
Oh my god! At a certain point, I was like, I think I need to call my mom and like try talk to somebody kind of warm for
just
a while.
tell her that you love her.
Exactly. I think I need to.
Like everyone in this film is a fucking asshole.
Everyone, like the baker is like, you go buy bread in the morning. He's like, take this shit, motherfucker. This fucking sucks. Like,
it's like every single guy is like a real like misogynist asshole. And everyone is like over like hypersexualized and just grimy.
So much sex. I looked up like why so much sex in horror movies. Like, I googled these exact words and I found some great explanations. But yeah, we'll get to that later. But
like one thing that I wrote down when I was watching was this cop just gets no respect.
No respect, like alien vibes, you know, like she's like, you're a fucking female, don't you see that you lack a penis? Shut the fuck up now, you're weak.
Exactly.
Dude, she's trying, alright? But also, like, I mean, she has no personality whatsoever. Like, I don't get it, like, girls in movies, like, the other movie you watch it as well, girls so fucking perfect, they have no flaws at all, this chick has no flaws at all. Like, the guy goes straight to her face, like, in the end, like, so you failed, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, it's true, I failed. I am sorry. I was like, bitch, what the fuck? I'll be like, shut the fuck up. Nobody should talk to me like this. Fuck off. But she's like, no, I am sorry. I was like, okay, alright. Perfect little girl.
I mean, I think that they, compared to everyone else, she at least had a bit of like actual character. She was dealing with like the death of her husband.
Dealing with the death of her husband. She says once, like, oh, by the way, like, my husband died. You know, like, there's like, they really, don't you, I feel like, you know, like, somebody wrote the first part of the movie and some other person wrote the second. kind of, because they dropped the widow plot line completely.
Well, I didn't see it as so much of a plot line as just like, because I mean it wasn't related to anything in the film as such. Like, I mean, what ends up being related to the film is like her police family and her father.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, yeah, we might as well just say spoilers because I feel.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, I mean, this whole thing is gonna be spoiler city for both movies.
Each detail, scene by scene.
So they end up trying to set up some suspects, like Donald Logue, who is a great actor and who. I mean, he plays an asshole, but he plays a kind of likable asshole. Who's the one who tells like the kids to go fuck themselves and like you're not getting anything for Christmas.
You mean the asshole Santa?
Yeah.
I don't know, he's an asshole.
Yeah, he's an asshole, but he was like everyone in the film is an asshole, but he was definitely the most likable asshole.
No,
and he at least engages in a Santa fight with the evil Santa.
He does, but not in a positive like, oh, I'm trying to fix things way. More in a like, I'm an asshole even to the serial killer kind of way.
Yeah, but it worked.
Well, he was right. He was an alright character.
Police chief you mentioned, maybe aside from Donald Logue, there's basically no other big names in the film. Anyone that I like see. Oh yeah, no, okay, I'll get to that later. But biggest star is Malcolm McDowell, who. I mean, he was Dr. Loomis in the Halloween remakes. He was Alex in A Clockwork Orange, and he's been in a ton of like just really shitty films, actually. And he's trying his best doing an American accent. I noticed it probably a lot more than you did, but I think when I pointed it out after a couple times, and maybe you started noticing it as well, like, yeah, you can hear his English accent there.
Yeah, after when I watched it by myself, I started to notice more and more that he was like, of course I can't differentiate much, but I started to notice like, alright, so it sounds unnatural. It sounds like he's trying.
Yeah, and I feel like they even tried giving him like unnecessarily...
complicated.
like American sounding lines.
Yeah, because no one else sounds like that.
And no one's like, oh, if this is true, then my aunt's my uncle. It's like, says, and then he has one line that I wrote down. Don't put avocado on the burger.
When I saw that, I was like, Sebastian's gonna have beef with that because he's vegan, and of course he puts avocado on the burger.
And even if you're not vegan, put avocado on your burger. Yeah, it's delicious.
And then he said, put some hummus on your burger, and I was like, wow, now I'm hungry. I have to go make a sandwich now. You know? Like,
But I feel like that was some kind of like weird, like we're trying to make. But even then, like he says, he's fine. Like the way he pronounces avocado, like I mean the way I say it, avocado. That's the way most Americans would say it. Like he said avocado. Like he's trying to like make it sound like as American as possible.
Yeah, alright. Again, I can see that he has a heavy like police chief kind of accent.
And there were several scenes where it's like you don't know where it's at. And it was like the one little word would be like, okay, he said that one word British, and then like the rest it was kind of like.
No, but I mean, he's really funny. Like there's a moment like one of the cops is leaving, and they're like, oh, have a good night, and then he sings like a little like Christmas song, like jingle bell, and the chief of police is like, what the fuck? Do you think this is fucking Glee or something?
Yeah. Yeah, he's just this cranky ass Ebenezer Scrooge kind of sheriff in town.
Yeah, but he's rude to her all the time, like crazy. Like she's just doing her job, like straight up doing nothing wrong at all. And he's like, because you're horrible. You can't do it by yourself. You're just terrible. And like you know, like when in the beginning of Alien, which they're really trying to highlight like the sexism, and it's that vibe, like you know. But the chick is like super, alright. There's no, okay, there's a little bit of the overcoming, like there's a little bit of like female empowerment in the fact that like she succeeded, how do you say that? She came after her father. I mean, like her father was a cop before her, and she became the cop that took down the killer. There's a whole family plot.
Which ends up being spoilers. The killer is.
Should we like do it chronologically? or like should we whatever.
We're already all over the place.
Way.
And honestly, it's like there's not a lot of plot.
That boat has sailed.
You can watch a lot of these scenes in different orders, and it's like wouldn't really matter.
People get killed. A lot of people get killed in many different ways. Very blood ways usually.
And in the film, there's this urban legend of this guy who dresses up as Santa because his wife cheated on him, and he uses a flamethrower to kill her. And then you find out that the main character's police dad was the one who killed that guy in a flashback scene that I thought looked really good, with like sort of everything desaturated.
Yeah, the best stuff looks great. Like the flashbacks, they have better cinematography than the modern day scenes.
Yeah.
I was like, why did you guys do all the... Forget this story. Tell me the story of the guy with the flamethrower. But wait, the guy with the flamethrower is...
Thrower, yeah.
The guy with the flamethrower is the father. No, it's not.
No, the guy with the flamethrower was the father of the killer in the film.
Yeah.
Because it turns out that there was a little boy in the car watching both his parents die, and that's what made him snap and whatever. And
what is the story with the flamethrower? The story inside Night, Deadly Night.
No, there's no, or maybe I think in one of the sequels, but no.
Not
like
really.
there's kills that are the same. Like when the mayor's daughter gets put onto the antlers.
Yeah, that's also similar.
Yeah, that's a call. That was a kill from the original film.
Yeah, that was bullshit though, because it's really not possible to. It's not possible to kill somebody like that. It's not.
Oh, I can't. Doesn't it depend on how strong you are and how sharp the antlers are?
No, but the antlers would never be that sharp. For you to like throw them against you and like of course perforate and hurt, sure. But for you to hang a person like the whole body like
yeah, okay, yeah, true.
Know? So
But so yeah, it ends up being the son of this random like urban legend that it ends up being true. They don't in any way try to imply that like the killer, like they have all these red herrings, but Donald Logue, asshole Santa character, is a red herring. They have this other guy who ends up being like an actual kind of criminal who gets killed by the cop. And they're just like, oh, it was this guy all along.
No, it was that guy now.
And we're like, who's that guy?
Yeah, like who cares? You know, they were like at least. Okay, so in the beginning, I was very interested because there was like a few. I suspected the police chief.
Yeah.
I suspect the creepy priest.
Mm-hmm.
And I suspected her adorable father. You know, I was like, yeah. And any one of these options would have been
better.
Yeah. But no, they
definitely
go in a total different direction.
Can we talk about the creepy priest for a second? Because
oh my god, he's so creepy.
They just like don't even. There's no subtlety at all to it. Like he is just chewing the scenery with just trying to be this sleazebag, molesting like creepy priest, and then he holds this sermon where it's like, okay, I'm not a priest, so I don't know like how high of an energy, like if it's like a musical artist where it's like, oh, if you're playing in front of a whole stadium, you give it like a fucking A+. If you're playing at a dingy club where there's not a lot of crowd, maybe you don't give it your all, but this guy is giving the sermon of his life to one parishioner.
Lady. Yeah. No, the guy's like, hi, I'm creeping evil. Good morning. Have you heard that I'm creeping evil?
Yeah, he just starts. It just turns into the Church of Satan. He just starts talking about sinning and everything. Is like
because sin is this internet pornography.
I'm like, wow, he's giving it his all to convert this one old lady to Satanism. Like.
Yeah, and then the movie like it has this. Yeah, that's what I mean with which was two different movies in the beginning. Because I remember in the beginning there was this whole thing of like. So the first, one of the first kills is like he goes on a rampage in a porn studio. So he kills the photographer, he kills the woman filming, he kills the actress. The actress is the kill in the wood chipper, which is like super intense and like an actually good scene.
It's almost absurdly violent.
Like, because
first he cuts off her leg.
Yeah.
And then, like, yeah, it's just so over the top violent.
But that appealed to me because one of my machines are one of my biggest fears. Like getting stuck on machines or like hurting myself on machines or stuff
Final
like that.
Destination style.
Yeah. So I'm always like, you know, like whenever I see somebody being like sucked into something, or like these stories of like a worker is forgotten at factory's freezer for 2 days, and then, you know, like this is always like, or like you're trapped in a submarine in the bottom of the ocean. Like this is the stuff that like creeps me out a lot. So that death creeped me out a lot. But my point was going to be that in the beginning they gave all these hints that it is somehow about sex and depravity and
or like sinning, or like not going to the Christmas spirit.
Yeah, so it's like Friday the 13th.
And like the little girl, she like knocks out her mom's medicine and starts swearing, and she's like behaving really badly, and also ballsy for killing a 14-year-old girl.
Yeah. I mean, like I thought that was like there was a little bit like how do you I mean, like, to be honest, like, for you to justify killing a 14-year-old, you have to show them, like, as really, really badly. But it also became, like, stereotypically and insane. She was, like, insane rude. Like, Mom, I don't care that your heart is failing. Just take me to the mall. Or whatever. I was like, alright, you don't like, you know, like, you don't need to be, like, nobody, it's very unrealistic. Like, nobody is that...
most of the characters are completely unrealistic.
But
to your earlier point, like, it starts off like it's something about morals or something like that. Yeah. But then it turns out that he's, like, placing these packages ahead of time.
Like,
planting packages.
And it's so dumb. Because there's this whole, like, how can I say it, puzzle, right? Which is she's trying to solve some crosswords in the newspaper, right? And she's like, 9-letter word, 6-sided object. And she's talking about it with everybody, no. And then in the end, like one of the clues, which is very vague, and to be honest, I don't remember. Like somehow one of the clues is snowflake, which was the 9-letter word. And I'm like, all right, but no. Is it a 6-sided object? Is it always a 6-sided object?
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure most of them aren't, actually.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be 6-sided.
Was it snowflake that was real clue?
It was a snowflake. It has 5. It has 9 letters. See, it's 9-letter.
Okay, it still makes no sense.
It makes no sense. It's kind of dumb.
Well, I kind of feel like they thought up the ending, like
they thought up,
like just in a hurry.
But that's my point. You see, like. They didn't know what they were going to do, and 2 different people wrote this, because like in the beginning they're like, Santa is hunting those who are naughty, Santa doesn't like depravity and sex, blah blah blah. But I think that with that they were just trying to like sign down the horror movie trope. That let's just do
because your killer has to have rules, like like Freddy Krueger kills you in your dreams, and
or like Halloween. But make it Christmas, or like Friday the 13th, but make it December 24th. You know, and like, all right, I was like, okay, but it didn't need to have that. The serial killer could, from the beginning, trying to hurt her and take revenge on her family, and then he could just, you know, kill little by little the people who protect her family somehow, like from the outer layers. Like start with the lame cop guy, move to receptionist friend, move to chief of police, move to brother, move to husband, move to her father. You know, which is the most like connected to her, the character that's most connected to her.
Yeah.
And follow the family path, because it's like her father. Like that's the thing as well, because supposedly her father, who used to be a cop as well, ruined this little boy's family, and the boy grew up to be a serial killer. But the thing is that, like, why would the boy have beef with the cop? Like, his mom cheated on his dad, ran away with some other guy, and then his father went and killed his mom and his, like, stepdad with a flamethrower. And the cop shoot at his dad, and I'm like, why would he, from all of these people, he would choose to resent the cop, you know? So it's disconnected.
In a twisted way, I can kind of get like, you blame the guy who killed the last member of your family.
But yeah,
even if that guy brought it upon, like, it's
just a second after your father killed the whole fucking
it's
family.
irrational, but people with like, I mean, people
really?
can be irrational.
You would.
I'm not saying I would.
No, like, you would blame your father for the whole fucking mess. You wouldn't try to go and avenge your father.
But this is not a film that takes like a serious approach to like psychology or actual human beings.
I know, but if it did, it would be slightly better. You see?
But the thing is, like, the movie knows what it wants to be. Like, it's definitely not trying to be...
It does not know what it wants to be.
Yeah, I mean, because it's so on the nose with just, like, all the violence and gore, and it's, like, giving just enough character. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's, like, a bad story. Like, it does not come together. It doesn't make sense in the end. But it's just trying to be, like, a violent-ass Christmas movie, and that's what it does, and that's why I kind of like it. And also... A+ cinematography.
Oh,
and like,
no, come on.
Yeah, it's fucking...
What A+ cinematography?
Okay, not A+. Okay,
crazy.
No. A+ is way strong. Wait, B-.
No, C. Why? When it's not minus and it's positive.
Plus.
C+. It's a C+ cinematography at most.
I think it's stronger than that. There's a lot of... Like, the scene at the end where the Santa mask is burning. Like, there's a lot of nice looking shots in this. I love the use of red and green colors.
Yeah, that's alright.
I like the variation of the Silent Night music that they use changeably throughout the.
Yeah.
Like, I think the score is surprisingly good. I think like a lot of the technical aspects are like better than the movie deserves. Like,
it is. Look, this movie and A Christmas Prince. This movie is slightly better than Christmas Prince.
Oh, I'd watch this 10 times before I watch Christmas Prince. We'll get to why later on, but speaking of, there was one thing I was on characters. There is one character that I recognized, which is the receptionist played by Ellen Wong, who was in a horror film called The Void, which a character in Christmas Prince was also in.
No way, parallel universe.
Yeah, I'll talk a little bit more about The Void later on. But there was a parallel of Ellen Wong's character in both films hiding in a closet. And that was a weird little the same, you know. And I really like The Void. The Void is a good movie. The Void is way better than both of these movies.
So. Yeah. But what is The Void? No, don't tell me. But what I was going to say is that I looked up some stuff, and it seems like the main actress, the cop girl, she has also been in a Valentine's Day horror movie. So I was like, yeah.
Another remake, but also My Bloody Valentine 3D, which is a remake of a Canadian classic, My Bloody Valentine.
Right,
so she's been in 2 horror remakes.
Yeah, and I mean, it seems like she has she's very niche, right? Remake holiday horror movies.
Yeah, right.
So, way to go. I'm looking forward to see her on Cinco de Mayo 3. La Venganza Sanguinaria. But no, it was.
But I figured that this would be one of those movies that I would like more than you.
Yeah, I mean, of course.
But I just like the fact that it embraces this hyper-violent, stylized look and feel.
Well, when I watched it, I was like, yeah, I mean, like, I bet Sebastian really digs this.
Not really digs. Not really. Like,
I bet he sits at home and he gets the giggles from it. It's like,
yeah, kind of.
Exciting, you know.
I mean, I like that it, like, it doesn't really do more than it wants to. Like, I mean, I feel like it doesn't take itself, like, the whole... Even though it's, like, seriously shot in tone and stuff like that, it's so over the top that, like, you can't really take it completely seriously.
Yeah, no, I mean, like...
Like, most of the kills, they're more, like, shocking and almost funny than they are, like, actually horrifying.
Yeah, like, I wouldn't say that it's not like they're funny, but they're, like, staged, you know, in a curious way, you know. And you're like, oh, let's explore some gore in the situation. Like how can we make this look? How can we make this death relate to the character somehow? How can we use the scenario to produce some violence up in here? And in this sense, I think it is perfectly fine. It's fine. And but like I mean, when you talk about like cinematography, like come on, there's a scene in which the porn actress falls from the window. And it's the worst fall from the window ever. Like, they didn't have to make her fall from the window if she was going to look like that.
Well, that's the thing. Like, it feels like almost a little dreamlike. In some ways, it reminds me a bit of like Rob Zombie's Halloween, but I don't like those movies. I like this more than that. But it has a similar kind of like mean-spirited, gritty tone, where everything's kind of ugly and grimy and gross and everyone's an asshole, but I enjoyed this more than Rob Zombie's Halloween movies.
I haven't seen those, obviously.
I don't recommend.
No.
The first one is
zombies. I really like zombies. Like for me, if there's zombies in it, it's
no
like
Rob Zombie, the musician turned director.
Oh God! All right.
Yeah. So obviously, Thais is a noob to Sci-Fi Night and its content.
No, sorry. But I mean, like, how's it called? Rob Zombie what?
Rob Zombie's So Rob Zombie remade the Halloween.
Ah, all right.
Now it rings a bell, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't really.
Not really. No, but I mean, like, how can I say, like, okay, all right. So, like, okay, so I looked up the movie, and I read some reviews, and it seems like it's the following, like. People that are already into the genre think that is a totally competent, very enjoyable movie. But like, if you're a person who isn't like super into horror movies to begin with, you're like a casual viewer, this movie's not gonna like, it's not gonna offer you anything like
that's very
special,
true.
And it's probably gonna like, how can I say, creep you out a little bit. Like, or at least like make your, I made the mistake of like sitting to eat dinner and watch this.
Bad
idea. And so like it's not, it doesn't, the measure of like having to sit through the average stuff doesn't compensate for, the occasional good parts or the jokes that occasionally land or the occasionally emotional scene or the occasional fun kill. There's stuff out there that's better packed, that you can spend better time with, like draw more enjoyment out of it. However, if you are a horror fan and you already have some like intro into the genre and like some basic interest, you're probably gonna enjoy this. It's enjoyable for sure. It's kind of funny. The kills are alright. Some of them are exceptional, some of them are boring, it depends. And in total, from 0 to 10, there are 7. And
my biggest complaint in terms of kills is that you don't see the police commissioner's kill really properly.
Yeah, and that's a kill that would hit you emotionally because by then you had developed a relationship with him.
Yeah, exactly. You would expect him to get like a bigger send-off.
Yeah.
But it's like, that's the thing, like, the movie misses the mark in like a lot of points. Like, I mean, plot twist, actual plot. It hits most of the stylistic beats.
Yeah.
But that is one stylistic beat that it misses, where it's like, that's a big character, he's got to have a big death, but no.
No.
You just, like, he gets burned alive, but you barely see anything.
You barely see anything, and every time, there are several, like, getting burned alive scenes, and, God, it creeps me out. But...
And top-notch pyrotechnics stunts on some of those burn scenes, like, especially in the flashback with the dad. I mean, it looks, I don't know how they did that so convincingly, like, it looks really good.
The flashback stuff looks much better. They should just have done the movie, like, in 40s style, I don't know, like, whatever, because it's funny, because it's supposed to take place in the 2000s, right? But flashback is, like, to the like, pre-World War kind of stuff, But that looked great. It looked great. And but they also had the most potent flamethrower in the fucking world. You know,
Yeah.
it's 5 meters away. Like it's.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I've seen some use of flamethrowers on YouTube. I mean,
They go very far.
they
like
go
that.
pretty far.
Yeah. Oh. All right. Maybe. I don't know actually. Maybe. But I felt a little bit like it was like, all right. So, what the fuck do you have like plutonium or something in this flamethrower? But I mean like no, it's alright. But it's the same way that Christmas Prince stops in each romantic comedy trope. This movie stops in each horror movie trope, and sometimes unnecessarily. You know?
Yeah.
The whole crusade against pornography, unnecessary. It had nothing to do with.
Well, I mean, it's the whole, Christmas spirit. You're supposed to be good. You're not supposed to be naughty.
I know, but why does the naughty thing needs to be sex? I mean, 2012. Come on, it's not that old. You know?
Yeah, but you want to have a killer who's like against society. I mean, if he was only killing like hardcore criminals, then it wouldn't really be the same thing.
No, but like he could kill people that were like because you don't like. How can I say? You don't have to be a criminal, much less a sex worker, to be outside of society. You know, like how can I say? He could, for example, kill a father that is abusing his kids. Yeah, he could kill like I don't know, like a politician that is stealing money from the hospitals.
That's a weird thing. Like the one politician he kills for
the nice
smoking.
Politician. Not even
It's just because he's smoking and he was supposed to quit smoking. That's why he gets killed.
And eventually they kill a couple who's just casually having sex. It's not like they're doing the depraved, bizarre stuff. No, they're a couple and they went to the room to have some sex.
Do you think maybe he killed them because of that awful line that they say? It looks like Santa's gonna come early this year.
Oh yeah, no, that scene was the worst. Oh my god, it was the worst.
Because that might actually be what got them killed.
Ever seen, yeah. No, the guy is disgusting. Sorry, Trebek. Sorry. Like he's fucking nasty, and the girl's like, I don't know, like.
But there was a shot that I liked, which is when he goes into the bathroom.
Oh yeah,
and the door's open,
yeah, the door's nice.
and then the door shuts.
Yeah,
and the Santa's,
that was scary.
Like that's famous. There's some nice shots in this for sure.
That was good. Yeah, all the movie could have been like that, like the killer, in an unexpected place. Instead, sometimes it's very much like, here's the killer walking to the house, ready to do a murder.
Yeah.
Like no need for that.
I guess it kind of goes back to the whole. It kind of feels like it's a little bit from two sides. Is that like there is a stylistic, more subdued side, and then there's a like overly gory in your face side.
Yeah, that's true. Some deaths are very gory and they are like heavy on the special effects and there's blood all over, and some deaths are much more toned down, And yeah, for me that was just it. If it had been full on, let's kill some people in some fun ways, whatever, let's have some beautiful girls running with their tits out, and I would get that. And if it was like, okay, let's do a serious drama about family revenge and living up to your family's legacy and whatever, I would buy that as well. I didn't like, however, that it was like half strawberry, half chocolate, half here, half there. I would rather have had like full-on commitment to one style or the other. And
but in the end, it wanted to be violent Christmas, and
yeah,
it does violent Christmas.
It's so much Christmas. It's like, okay, so like in the Christmas day, like every single man in the city dresses like Santa. Like
it's like a really small town, because one of the plot points is that the city will die if they don't put in another road.
Oh, it's already dead.
But they have 500 Santas.
Yeah, like it's just like in the Christmas. Christmas is the city just lives for Christmas.
Yeah.
And everybody that goes out and dresses like Santa. It must literally be every single man in town, because the chief arrested like 15 Santas. Yeah. And there were like 3 Santas that were suspicious, and her father was a Santa, and there was a Santa parade. Are there Santa?
Everyone's a Santa.
Are there Santa parades in the U.S.?
Yeah, I think so. I'm pretty sure New York has. I don't know.
Everybody dresses
I don't know
like
if
Santa.
it's small ass
all
little
adult
town.
Man.
I don't think a small ass little town like this has enough people for a big ass Santa parade like that. But.
Yeah, and they bought all the Santa costumes in like a terrible costume store. It's like they could have done it in a way that like
But I like the fact that it is both Christmas as fuck and violent as fuck.
Yeah, alright. Yeah,
Because they go all in on the Christmas stuff. I mean, every single, like not every single scene, not every single shot, but every single frame has something Christmassy in it. You know, like they really wanted to feel Christmassy.
Yeah, they did. But there's a lot of Christmas music as well.
And again, the score I actually really enjoyed.
Yeah, it was alright. There was some the credits version of Silent Night. It was very beautiful, and yeah, overall it was a perfectly fine movie. Don't watch it while you're eating though.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, yeah, the whole Christmas stuff is it's there, but I would want it to be connected to the plot somehow. You know, like either Santa's punishing the naughty people, or because the priest does a whole speech about how it is like Christmas. The meaning of Christmas has been deturpated, like deconstructed for a time, and I felt like, okay, so maybe it's about that kind of. But it's not about that. It's not about anything. There's a guy dressed like Santa.
It's about Christmas violence.
It's about Christmas violence and kind of like about family as well. So that's kind of. It's a perfectly fine movie. If you're into horror, check it out. If not, skip it.
Fa la 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 la. All right, let's move on to the next movie. Okay, so while Silent Night is terrifying for certain reasons, our next movie, Christmas Prince, is terrifying for completely different reasons. It is a romantic comedy released to Netflix from 2017, a whopping 5.8 on IMDb. And let's just read the description here. When a reporter goes undercover as a tutor to get the inside scoop on a playboy prince, she gets tangled in some royal intrigue and ends up finding love. But will she be able to keep up her lie? Taish, this was a film you had suggested. How did you hear about this film?
No, yeah, so, alright, so first of all, we wanted to do something special for the holidays, right? And our plan was to just, as it's usually the theme at the Sci-Fi Night, just watch some horror. Mm-hmm. But I thought that, I wanted to present a challenge to my friend Sebastian, right? I wanted him to, step out of his comfort zone. So I said, dude, why don't you watch, something that you hate? Something that you absolutely despise. And I was like, yeah, it has to be some cheesy romantic comedy or whatever. So I looked up, I straight up Googled the romantic comedies, Christmas, whatever, cheesy movies, and there was a long list. Mm-hmm. But at the bitter end, Sebastian, he settled for A Christmas Prince. So he as I was talking with him, he picked his poison, and that was it. But I mean, maybe he had some fun. Come on, didn't you like it?
Well, you were right about a couple things, like me absolutely hating it. I think from a very choice of the font in the opening credits, I was just like, okay, this is gonna be hard to get through, because it was the very sort of cheesy traditional Christmas style font, but in the most bland, grayish brown beige color, and I was just like, oh, that is so gonna set the tone for this bland ass white people movie. And boy, did it ever. I think the first couple minutes in, I was just like, oh god, this is atrocious. Because one thing, I think the American actors were not as good as the British actors.
Oh, but that's just how the world goes.
I mean, her colleagues, because she plays this reporter who goes to this fictional country to get the inside scoop on this royal, what is it, Aldovia. And I was kind of hoping for something, check out the Sci-Fi Night Light video, Nations of Marvel, I'm all for world building. I think that's kind of cool and fun. So I was like, all right, cool. Aldovia, what's this place all about? It's just like, no, it's just a castle. It's just like, it could be any British town ever.
Yeah, but I actually wrote it down because it's the castle. It's a castle in Romania. Okay, right. I was supposed to have written the name of the castle down, but I did not. Alright, but I mean, I wanted to just say that I am all for the Eastern European kind of vibe. You know, like, I really dig it that they went to film it in Romania. I love Romania. I mean, like, so I thought it was beautiful. But hey, there was a moment there that I thought, like, okay, so if Sebastian doesn't like anything else about this movie, at least he's gonna relate to that. But that's the whole thing that the prince is getting like crowned on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. And when I saw it, I was like, oh, I'm kind of sorry for the prince because then he's just gonna have one celebration a year instead of getting his, coronation plus the Christmas Eve. He's gonna have to do both on one day. And then I was like, oh, do you know who also has to do that?
I totally relate to that, as my birthday is on Christmas Day. So okay, I could kind of feel it there. But like when we reported in the beginning, when she's talking to like her colleagues, and I was just like, oh my god, it is terrible acting. There's like the guy who's supposed to be like the gay friend, and it's like I was like, oh, well, give us some oomph, dude. Like every single one of his lines, it just sounded. I was just like, really, that's the best take you guys got. And like her other colleague as well, I was just like, oh, these deliveries. It's just like it's like watching paint dry. It's just so uninfused. But the British actors, there was one who stuck out, which was the Queen. Where I was like, okay, this lady can act. Alice Krieg, and I was like, I recognize her from somewhere. She was the Borg Queen in Star Trek: First Contact.
Oh yeah.
And she's also been in Thor: The Dark World, Silent Hill. She played the cult leader, Christabella. She was in Sleepwalkers. She's been in Hansel and Gretel, Witch Hunters. So she's been in some fun stuff.
She's definitely really good. She almost looks like she doesn't belong in that movie. You know, like she was supposed to be on The Crown and she wandered into the wrong set.
She deserves to be in a better movie.
Yeah, she's so much better than the whole rest of the movie. But the little girl also does a great job. I love her. Actually, the little girl and the queen and the prince and the main character Amber, right? They look like they belong in different movies. You know, it's a whole different level. The little girl also does a really good job. No one else, how can I say, has any prominence besides them. I cannot think of any other characters or anything other than copy paste.
Yeah, the stock evil British guy who wants to usurp the throne. Yeah, it's just like the chemistry between the reporter and the queen the reporter and the prince is like non-existent.
Oh yeah, no.
It's like they're trying their best with really shitty music for like the music to sell the emotion, but it's like I thought the whole film was also like terrible editing. It's just like things just never really get a chance to like it's all very like kind of quick stale shots. There's no like I reacted to one shot, which is when they're baking in the kitchen one morning, and there's like a slow dolly shot pan to the left, and I was like, oh, a little cinematography in this movie. And it's a little bit slower and there's like some shadows, and I was like, oh, this is actually a kind of nice looking shot. And it was like stuck out, and it was like, a shot that serves no point, no storytelling purpose. It's just this random ass shot that actually kind of stuck out as being competently made.
Yeah, no, in terms of cinematography, it's very basic. It's like somebody made it as their final project for cinema school. Yeah. But their parent was very rich, so they had like a high budget, but still it looks like a high school production a little bit. And in many senses, cinematography included, and the script is also very like, how can I say? It's I was researching a bit of this subject, and I came by like Mindy Kaling's definition of a romantic comedy, in which she says how romantic comedies are kind of like, she said sci-fi, but I think she kind of meant fantasy in a sense, because stuff that happens in romantic comedies do not at all happen in real life.
Yeah.
You know, but up to the next level that like we have to like accept some fucked up stuff that is just straight up bullshit, you know, like that would not happen in real life. But I mean, in terms of just to finish talking about cinematography and then move on to the plot, because we're gonna be on that for a while.
Probably for far too long.
Yeah, probably. We're now realizing that this is probably gonna be way longer than we both expected. But yeah, I mean, like it's nothing special to look at. I mean, there's definitely other holiday movies that just look prettier, you know, that just have better colors, or you know, whatever else, you know. I had a Christmas party, Corona safe, this weekend, and I was thinking about like putting like a movie on the background just to like set the theme, set the tone. But yeah, there are way more beautiful Christmas movies out there that it's not anything special to look at all. However, all right. Moving on to the plot. The plot has a certain, you know, so bad that you need to talk about it kind of quality.
Yeah.
I think that kind of like actually pushed the move forward, because it is. Once I told Sebastian I didn't believe in anything being so bad that it's good. But this movie truly is so bad that it's good. It's so bad. I mean, it's not good. But I mean, it generates attention to itself. It manages to do that because you want to talk about it. How you want to call a friend and be like, hey, that's kind of fucked up, right? I mean, like that's kind of messy there.
I would not say it's so bad it's good, but I would say it's so bad it's interesting, because you want to see how more contrived the film can get and how much more forced the romance and the plot, and like, I mean, it feels like the plot is like being held hostage and just kind of like brought in against its will. It's just it feels so bland, and then we're just desperately trying to like make it like, that's what was interesting to see, like, okay, well, how are we gonna motivate this being interesting?
Yeah, I mean, like, that's what I was saying about it being like a high school production, because it's not that this stuff that happens on it is impossible or magic or surreal. It's just that it is, you know, in order to make it valid anyhow, you'd have to actually tell a story, and they just want to do cute scenes, and they just want to hit certain romantic comedy cliches, you know, and not go too deep into, you know, details and everything. So a lot of stuff is pretty straightforward. Like, for example, Amber, the main character, she works in this like journal magazine in
like a tabloid.
Yeah, and I mean, like, the Prince of Aldovia, and by the way, Sebastian probably doesn't know that, and perhaps lots of you hearing this also do not know that, but so there's this super famous, super popular series called The Princess Diaries. They're made into movies with Anne Hathaway.
Yes, I actually was I haven't seen them, but I have seen the trailers.
So even it rang it to you as
yeah,
well.
I started thinking of that actually when I was watching it.
Yeah, and I mean, the biggest problem is that, like, all right, so the kingdom, the fictional kingdom in Princess Diaries is called Genovia, and in this movie, the kingdom's called Aldovia. So, like, I don't know if they're just like straight up being like, hey guys, so we're doing a fictional Eastern European kingdom. Just, you know, remember how they did Genovia, so we're gonna do Aldovia. So, like, you know, in our universe, there is like the former how do you say Soviet Union dissolved.
The former Soviet Republic.
Yeah, exactly. Some alternative version of the Soviet Union dissolved into these kingdoms of
where
Aldovia
everyone has a British accent.
And Genovia, and Aldovia and Genovia, they also been at war for the last 50 years. So you can read it all about it. You can look it up. But yeah, so it's in the So, all right, I honestly don't know much about the Princess Diaries. I read some people saying, oh, it's so similar to the Princess Diaries. Oh my god, like, I don't know, honestly. Like, I don't know, because, okay, in Princess Diaries, she discovers she's the king's daughter, alright? And, in this is
and she has to learn how to become royalty. Like.
Yeah, and also the fact that she's, like, awkward and, not conventionally attractive, but with some, like, princess treatment, she, like, gets elevated in the social status, and she's trying not to let this change her. So, like, for me, it's very different from the Princess Diaries 1, but I think there are like 15 Princess Diaries books, for real,
snap.
And like 5 movies. So I don't know the whole mythology, but maybe it's like one of the Princess Diaries movies, but
could be, yeah.
Yeah, but that's it. So she's an editor in a magazine, right? Mm-hmm. But her job sucks. She's not happy. And then she cannot ever write her story and be herself and speak her mind, because that's what fashion tabloids are all about.
Exactly. They're about integrity.
Exactly. And she gets mad because she has to edit text, which, like, it's very much to ask for, from an editor.
Exactly.
Which is her job. But alright, she's upset. She wants to, change the world. So she gets a chance to report on royalty. Because the coronation of the Prince of Moldavia is coming, but he doesn't want to take the throne. He doesn't want to be king. Why not? Oh my god, what can possibly be stopping him? Spoiler ahead, there's nothing stopping him.
Yeah.
It's never.
It's just forced drama.
Yeah, it's never addressed at all. He's a perfectly fine guy. He's not a jerk that needs to learn anything. He's
beloved by the people. It's just like, there's no, like, set up reason for him, aside from just, like, him feeling that he can't live up to his father.
Yeah, that's the whole, I cannot live up to you, Dad. So it's like, so what are you gonna do then? Disappoint him even further? Disappoint him more than ever by abdicating to the throne, just...
And that feels like almost like just an afterthought where we're like, oh yeah, shit, we haven't given a reason for why he can't. Because it's like, it's one scene, he goes to the grave, says that line, and then that's it. Like, it's never brought up again.
Yeah, no, like the prince, of course, because he's the prince and stuff, and he's the great trophy that you get for being a good woman who enjoys... womanly activities. It's that you get your amazing prince in the end. So the guy had to be perfect, right? He couldn't be flawed. So we don't really get why. They could have made him. That's the point. If they wanted to make it good, they would have. They could have made him like a true playboy that has, like, issues and needs to be helped. And
like an actual nuanced character.
Yeah, but no, this guy is like the best guy ever, and he just doesn't want to be king because he's afraid that he's not gonna live up to his father who passed away. But of course, the alternative is to leave the kingdom to cousin Simon, who is framed to be a jerk, right? So do the right thing is obviously to take the kingdom. There's no doubt there. Do the right thing. Stop being a pussy. Grow up. Whatever. You're like 40. Just go be king. So yeah. I mean, she has to go to Moldavia to
get the scoop of, like, what's happening, and then she sees the real side of the prince, which is a cardboard cutout, 2-dimensional character. Or one-dimensional character who's just, like, generic good guy. His evil cousin is just generic douchebag, bad guy. Like, he feels like one of the characters in, like, Ace Ventura 2, when we're at that rich place and there's all these rich, stuck-up, snooty people who are just like, that's what the cousin felt like, and the ex-girlfriend is just like, we're the bad guys just because... It's just like, there's no depth, no actual characters.
That's for kids. It's kind of for kids. The villains are it's like a kind of kids movie.
Well, even like for one point where I was like, oh shit, is something gonna happen? Because she's getting to know the prince, and then but she's still trying to sort of snoop on him, and she follows him, gets lost in the woods somehow. and then a wolf shows up, and I was like, "Oh shit, something's happening!"
The beast. Yeah, but that's when you got excited. Oh my god, how male brain is really different. And you think like the only thing that like had a shade of an action scene like that's like reacted to like. But that is like straight up lifted from Beauty and the Beast, right?
Yeah.
But I mean like I guess the thing is that we have to go back to the chronological progression of stuff because there's stuff all over it, you know. And like there's the thing like so okay, she gets to Aldovia and blah blah blah. She's supposed to go to a press conference, right? And I mean, Sebastian, you're a reporter, right?
Yeah.
That's what you do for a living. Do you think that like if you were a reporter in a fashion magazine in New York, they would send you to the coronation of an Eastern European fictional prince?
No. I have sometimes issues getting credentialed for some of the biggest shows that I've been working with martial arts like for almost 10 years. It can be an issue getting credentialed there, like if it's a big, event. A random ass New York tabloid, like no, never. That's not gonna happen. And I love the fact that it's like people who like reporter is basically like being called like a fascist there. Like dirty reporters. There's all these lines about like, oh, it's just so long as you're not part of a press. It's like
yeah, no, and like Aldovia is like both New York and the UK simultaneously because obviously there is rift between like the royal family and the paparazzi.
Yeah.
But also it's New York because like when she gets there and she tries to get into a cab, the prince is still the cab but he's under disguise, And like there's only one place in the world in which people steal cabs and it's in New York, alright? Yeah. I highly doubt that this happens in Eastern Europe. It doesn't happen in Brazil, it doesn't happen in Sweden. Nobody has ever stolen a cab for me. When I need a cab, I call it for a nap, and it has my name written on it, like 50 kilometers away, alright? So nobody steals cabs, but in Aldovia they steal cabs. Do they steal cabs in New York, or is it just a movie thing?
I've been to New York. It is kind of a crazy place. It does not surprise me in the least if people do steal cabs there, because people there, like, I was there for about a week. I don't think I heard one, like, single person talking on the phone that it wasn't a really, really intense conversation. It's like, if I call my mom, it's like, oh, hey, Mom, so what's for dinner tonight? But when I was in New York, it's like, hey, Ma, what's for fucking dinner? Is Bernie coming? It's just like, dude, fucking chill out. Like, New Yorkers need to chill out.
Yeah, like, and yeah, I mean, like, so Aldovia, I mean, like, I don't think it would be very big, and I don't think it would be the kind of place where people steal cabs. I mean, it's definitely...
Yeah, I kind of doubt it. I mean, I don't think a small little monarchy like that really warrants that kind of behavior.
That kind of behavior.
But so she starts getting close to the little sister who has some disease where it's like... She has... like a bone disease or something like that?
She has spina bifida, alright? So, in case you guys want to look up and educate yourselves a little bit about disability, because it's important. So, yeah, I don't know if the actress has a spina bifida in real life. I don't think so.
No, probably not.
But yeah, the little girl has spina bifida. Yeah, but how? How does this New York reporter, from the crazy how do you say, concrete jungle where dreams are made of? Mm-hmm. How does she get close to the princess of Aldovia? So it's fucking stupid. She decides to follow the story of the prince. So I guess she's paying for the whole trip herself, like to stay there after they cancel the press conference.
I guess so.
She's banking it herself because she makes a lot of money as a New York City reporter for Fashion Magazine. So she decides to stay in Aldovia and goes and she's wondering about the palace. And then like some royal family staff sees her and goes like, aha! So you're the tutor for the princess.
Yeah, or he asks her who she is, and she answers or something like, "Oh, you're American. You must be the tutor."
Of course.
Allow me to lead you into the royal palace without checking any documentation or anything like that. Oh, and you said you weren't supposed to come for another month. It's like, really? Wow, that is lax fucking security. It's a good thing she wasn't a terrorist. Like if this was a Die Hard movie, like they would all be so dead.
No, Aldovia like must be a very peaceful place, despite being part of the former Soviet Republic.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, but no, like the things that the last time I had a job, like they asked for my passport, my school history documents, you know, my social security number, my inscription on the Skatteverket and the Federal Revenue Agency, and like they don't ask for anything. They're just like, oh, of course you're the tutor. Please accompany me.
Despite the fact that you're not supposed to be here for another month.
Yeah, and also like be free to spend time alone with the very precious prince who has a debilitating physical condition.
Yeah.
You know, like why not? Just go ahead, you know? And nobody cares much about the girl's education because like, you know, like nobody goes to check if the tutor is legit, you know? And, you know, they have a lot of adventures together that don't quite constitute tutoring. So nobody's looking and they're just chilling. And that's how the prince falls in love, because he goes like, oh, she chill.
She's nice to my sister.
She's nice to my sister.
My sick sister with a disease was like, oh, she's nice. I mean, it's like, and she's her tutor. So it's like, a tutor is supposed to be like, I don't know. There's nothing about her persona that's like, goes anything above and beyond. It's like, she's nice to the girl she's supposed to help. Like,
yeah. I mean, like, you have the impression that like Aldovia is like fucked up, you know, like because, you know, for the premise is like, you know, she brings joy, all right? She brings color. She's different. She's fun.
Because she's clumsy.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so quirky.
But I'm all for romantic comedy leads being clumsy, because clumsy people need representation out there. I'm clumsy as fuck and nobody's ever clumsy. Superhero movies, no one is clumsy, alright? So, except for Ant-Man, right?
Yeah, he's a little clumsy,
He's kind of clumsy. Alright.
To be fair, if Superman's clumsy, he ends up like probably taking out a building of innocent civilians, so...
Yeah, alright.
It might be, especially in the Zack Snyder movies where everything is depressing. And it's like, imagine if Superman was clumsy there. I mean, it's like he just has like school buses filled with kids getting like vaporized by his heat vision.
But Superman, isn't he never clumsy? Isn't he clumsy like in the beginning, like Smallville Superman?
Yeah, Smallville, I guess. Yeah,
he's clumsy, right? Oh, I'm so strong and I kill everything with just a simple touch, right? Or like, yeah, alright. Superman was clumsy. Clark Kent is clumsy, right? And then Superman is very agile.
Yeah.
Or just like Superman, alright? But alright, she's clumsy, she's cute, she's nice, and then you're supposed to think, oh, this is so important. This brings so much like attraction towards her, because Aldovia is boring. People are mean, people are snooty, people are whatever, fucked up their code. So yeah, this girl makes all the difference, right? But like, I mean, the queen is quite nice. The prince is super chill. The little princess girl, cute. You know, everybody's nice. So like, it doesn't quite hit you so strongly, the message that she made an impact, you know, like a great impact in that people's lives. You know, they also made a great impact on her life, I'd say.
But that also goes back to them having like no chemistry. It's like, you know, the cuts there's a lot of really quick cuts, and I just think that's because they're like, whoever was editing realized that like, okay, I gotta make something happen. We gotta have some quick editing to make it feel like stuff is happening. Because like when they look at each other, it's just like there's nothing there.
Oh, I thought there was a bit of chemistry. I thought it was alright.
I did not pick up on that. It just felt so forced. It felt so like.
They seem to me like exactly the kind of people who date in real life. You know, like I don't know. She's like, oh, like cute, sweet, basic girl. You know, and he's all like handsome, sweet, basic guy, you know. I guess they would totally like take autumn pictures on Instagram. Yeah. You know, like holding a sign saying "Home Sweet Home" or something, or like "Live."
They have "Live, Laugh, Love" on their wall. For sure,
on their wall. Yeah, definitely. And he's like, I don't know, man. He either works for a bank, or he's in the military somehow, and she bakes. I don't know. They look exactly. For me. They look very coupley. I don't know.
I mean, there were several things that were distracting me throughout to better movies, because like they were so they were so trying to make it feel like stuff was happening, but it was so like not happening. So I was being distracted by several things. One, the prince, he looks to me like a guy who should play a villain. He doesn't feel like a romantic lead to me, and I'm not trying to like body shame him or anything like that. I'm sure the actor, he's a handsome man, and I'm sure he's a very nice person, but I don't know, something about the vibe where he's playing this like royalty thing. I was just like, man, he should play a bad guy, like a snooty bad guy, like a die-hard extra villain, like.
First of all, I think it's very sweet that Sebastian is afraid the actor is going to find this podcast and be offended.
Oh, I'm sure you're listening, what's his name? I looked him up. I couldn't actually find anything where there was something I recognized him from. Ben Lamb could not have a more boring name.
I have never seen this guy before, but I got to say, I was pleasantly surprised with his performance, because all the posters and pictures and everything I saw, he looked fucking dead. He replaced him with a wax doll, it's the same. It's whatever. The guy's not. I couldn't even look at him, because he was so bland that I was distracted by the colors and by her and stuff. And then when I watched the movie, and I was like, oh, all right, he's all right. He's not as bad as I expected. He's got kind of a Prince Harry thing going on, kind of shy and down low, and but yeah, I know what you mean when you say that he should play a villain. He could definitely play a villain.
I feel like he'll be better in a villain role.
Yeah,
or at least based on this performance.
Yeah.
And again, I don't necessarily think it's a bad performance from him. I just feel like, a weak, boring script with actors who aren't so enthused by it, because they can tell it's just stock. This is supposed to happen. It's a romantic comedy. Now this is supposed to happen. Now there's a fall, and it's like I'd have a hard. I probably wouldn't bring my A game to that either.
Oh no, you have to bring your A game to everything, especially these people, man. Who the fuck is Ben Lamb, man? Whatever the chick, whatever. Again, in case you guys find this podcast sometime, you're perfectly fine, beautiful people. But you see, this movie's kind of a breakthrough. This movie had made them famous. There's a trilogy. It's a trilogy, saw that. Man. They have baby.
I just found out it was the royal baby. I was like, oh my god, so there were fans of this movie. We're just the chemistry, the characters. Oh, we got to see more of this. I was like, how is there more than one of this?
No, but I have to be honest. Although this movie it's kind of really bad, but in a sense, I kind of get it. The thing is that it's not good. It's okay. It's not good, right? It's not well done. It's not special in any way. It's not tries to be bad and kind of, or tries to be good and it kind of fails. It's bad. It's a 7. If this was a school project, it would be okay, right, you passed. You tried really hard. But it's definitely not how can I say it's not gonna change your life in any way whatsoever. But once I was done watching, I was like, yeah, all right. So I just want to see what happens to them. I just want to spend more time with these people.
Really?
Yeah. Kinda.
Oh my god.
Because it's okay. It's not for you to just watch, but it's for you to you're working and then you leave it on the background. Or you were doing the dishes or you're cleaning the house, you leave it in the background.
Well, yeah, you would still understand everything because the plot is so basic and spoon-fed to you and...
Exactly, and nothing super intense happens. It's not you're gonna be oh my god, it's so tense now. That everything's gonna be fine, everything's gonna be perfect. So you don't have to worry. You put this and you fall asleep to this, you're gonna have beautiful dreams. It's very like a cup of tea of a movie.
Yeah, I would say also that the second half is at least more interesting than the first half.
Yeah, but the second half also gets fucked up. It also...
the movie throughout is kind of a drag. That's why I was getting distracted by better movies the whole time. The guy who plays the dad, the reporter's dad, he plays a dad character in a really fun and bloody and underrated horror film called The Void, which is really great and intense as fuck and violent, and I just kept thinking like, man, I wish he would like fuck up some monsters and stuff instead. Like, oh, and I started thinking of A Void. I was like, yeah, that's a cool ass movie. The same way that I started thinking of Die Hard when I saw The Prince at certain points. I was like, yeah, he'd be a good Die Hard villain.
Yeah, alright, I see that, like a Swedish arms dealer or something.
Yeah, exactly. We could totally pull that off. Or some like evil hacker kind of guy.
Yeah.
Causing accidents.
Yeah, totally. Or he could have been the antagonist in this movie, and they could have been the prince be somebody more awake.
Yeah, somebody who was a little more there. Yeah.
Somebody like with shine in their eyes and like a personality and nuance, you know. That would have made a big difference. That guy is very like, you know, I guess that nowadays you when you have to put a prince out there, it has to be a British prince, you know. So like he has to kind of look like Prince William or something. It needs to be like a tall guy with the hair like that and whatever. But if they had gone with like a more, how can I say, like slender, swift actor, I don't know, with more of a physical presence, you know, that maybe would have gotten the message across.
Well, someone like, better. I mean, he's way too good to be in a like movie like this, but like someone like Tom Hiddleston, you know, Loki.
Yeah.
Like someone with a little bit of like oomph to their acting, a little bit more character, and a little bit more like, you know, he gets off so much acting through like subtle little like body mannerisms and stuff like that. Whereas like everyone in this movie was just like so stiff. It's like they've been standing in the same part for like ages, and we're like waiting to do the next take, and it's like just all right, let's just get it on. Like it's like props, so academic.
Yeah. Strong wax figure vibe.
Oh yeah,
from
definitely.
Everybody, but
like I've seen more life from like a lot of CGI characters.
Oh yeah, no, it's easy. But I also was thinking of Nicholas Hoult. I don't know if you know. Yeah, I don't know if you know who he is. You know, he was amazing on The Great. One of perhaps the best series I've ever seen on HBO or anywhere about Catherine the Great, and he plays the Emperor, and he's amazing. He's an excellent actor, but again, he's way too good for this movie.
Yeah,
there's no chance he would be there. And
like really, any actors that we could talk about would make have a solid performance and really own the role, but we're just way too good for this vanilla
Ryan
script.
Reynolds as well.
He would be a great funny prince.
Yeah,
like.
exactly. A prince with some nuance. Like, you get that he's a playboy and he's gonna be free, and he doesn't think he can live up to his father. This dude, you don't get that. That dude, you think that like he would do whatever his father told you ever.
Yeah, like the whole he's a playboy. Like that's based on what?
Yeah.
Like there's nothing that gives you any sense that this is some kind of like party playboy, you know, clubs and drugs and women. It's like, no, you get nothing.
Not at all.
It's like, where did these must be really shitty reporters if that is the vibe they're getting when they're trying to cover him.
That prince has never smoked a joint ever.
Oh, never. No.
Never.
In fact, he's probably strongly against it.
Strongly against it, I would say, because it gets in the way of his daily swimming of 12 kilometers.
Yeah.
That's how it seems like it
No, not swimming, rowboating.
Exactly. So, you know, since smoking is bad for your lungs, he doesn't do it because it gets in the way of his rowboating. Mm-hmm. So this prince is not a playboy for nothing as well. But alright, so somehow she's in the palace and another fall in love, blah blah blah. And but then there's political intrigue.
Yeah, the douchebag cousin wants the throne. Turns out, spoiler alert, plot twist, the prince is adopted.
Oh my god.
And the evil cousin wants to use that as grounds for nothing blood.
No. Yeah, alright. But I mean, like, the whole thing is like really fucked up. Please talk about it a little bit more as I compose myself.
Alright, so the douchebag cousin who was the douchebag cousin was actually involved, and one of the things that I wrote in my notes was like, wow, an actual joke. Because every other attempt at humor, I was just like rolling my eyes into the back of my skull. There was one actual joke in this movie where the douchebag cousin is introduced and he's talking about Ferraris or something like that, And the prince, because he's such a good guy and not materialistic, disses his Ferraris. And then the cousin is like, oh, what's your problem with my Ferrari? And the prince says, oh, it's not about Ferrari, it's what it's compensating for. Yeah. And I was like, a joke!
No, but honestly, the villains are... I also remember having this feeling that you're describing, and it was also provoked in the scene of the villains. So, like, the villains actually bring some... comic relief, like
actually in some way the evil cousin feels like a $1 version of Tom Hiddleston in a way.
Yeah, totally.
Like he probably saw Loki and kind of like, yeah, that's something that I should base 1% of my performance on.
Yeah, and like, alright, so there is a scene like near the end in which like, alright, so yeah, I'm sorry guys, I'm sorry to spoil this very non-obvious ending, but everything turns out well, the prince gets crowned, right? So when Simon like loses the crown, he's like leaving the courthouse, like leaving the ceremonial place, and he's like mumbling about something, and then the villain girl, ex-girlfriend girl goes like, shut up, Simon, like as they're leaving, and like and that made me feel like, oh, alright, that was funny, like that actually like tickled my funny bone for real, even though it was no big deal, but it's just the way that they're speaking about it on the background, like he lost the crown and he's like, okay, but you're still married, right? The show's like, shut up, Simon. So yeah, the villains are alright. It's very cookie cutter.
Alright is about as good as you can say about.
Yeah. I mean, they're alright. They're better than the lead.
Serviceable. Like they fulfill their role a lot more than I guess other characters in the film.
I heard that also like Simon became kind of a fan favorite because he stays.
Oh really?
And gets redeemed in the sequels. So.
Are we setting up for 2021's next Christmas watch?
Yeah, and then they're gonna have a spin-off like Simon's Adventures,
oh, of course.
Then he goes to New York, and then there's gonna be cultural clash.
Because
culture.
There's the very strong Moldovan culture.
Exactly, which is all about Christmas.
Yeah, that is not at all something that like some American guy just saw an article with a picture of a British royal family and based his idea off of that.
No, most definitely not. It's most definitely not all European kingdoms mashed into one at once.
And with zero actual individual flair. It's like...
Yeah.
I was like, at least I was like, okay, which culture are you going to try and copy? And it's like, not really any of them.
No,
it's like,
no.
It's so middle of the road, they won't like commit to anything, really. But... One thing that I thought was interesting though was that when we're swearing in the prince, it sounds like he's getting married to the country.
Yeah, alright, I was going to say exactly that. I was going to acquire their wedding vows in the coronation.
Yeah. They're like, oh, do you swear to take care of Moldovia in sickness and in health, in peace and in war? It's like, I do. And it's like, and if anyone objects to this, say...
Why do they ask that? Why do they ask if anyone, like, why would they want that on the date of the coronation? Shouldn't this be a long, investigative, legal procedure if anybody can contest the heir to the crown?
Yeah, it's just like, no, if anyone has a problem, speak now or forever hold your peace.
And we will totally believe it and change it completely, We're gonna change the whole destiny of the country just because you... showed up that day. No, but like, so the coronation is stupid. It's so stupid.
Yeah.
And also I also noticed this now. It gave me that vibe. Like, okay, so when I was a kid, I lived by this like a club, right? Like a sports club. So a pool, tennis court, whatever. And it was like a pillar of the community, a lot of like events, special events would take place there. But it was all very, okay, alright, so I'm from Brazil, and being from Brazil, I'm from Rio, and then I'm from a neighborhood called Meia, which is like, like not exactly like the nice, fancy part, It's middle class. How would you say this in English, like in relation to America? Like a suburbia, like a... small town, no big deal. And like, so the coronation looks like an event that would take place in that club close to my house. there's a small stage, a little microphone.
Yeah, it's like small town hall meeting.
Exactly. Like a small town hall meeting. Like the guy, I don't know, like he knew.
Like, shouldn't that take place in like some massive church or like some big courtroom or like a just some grand place where there's like a throne or something? But yeah, it feels like a small town meeting.
No, yeah, and the press, it's like a couple people, like taking pictures of them. Like, come on, the country cannot be like that small. And plus, there's international press. People got sent over here all the way from New York. But no, the whole scene is done very cheap. I don't know. I truly believe that if they had rented a church or made a church, it would have looked so much more legit.
Yeah.
You could not, to rent a church could not possibly have been too much more expensive than building that local sports club scenario that they built. Like,
yeah.
It was very like kind of like whatever, kind of done like very poorly. But I mean, like, I guess that the things that we get caught talking about this whole all these small things, because the movie's full of these fucked up little details.
Yeah.
But like the most fucked up thing is the most central thing to the plot, which is the whole fact that, okay, alright, so the prince is adopted, and if he's adopted, he cannot be the heir to the throne.
Yeah.
So this is a big deal, right? So like, but then like, okay, so people only expect him to be the heir to the throne because they do not know that he's adopted.
Yeah.
Right? But how come the royal family adopted a child and nobody knows?
Yeah, that's also one of those things. It's like they established that like they thought the mother couldn't have children, or she was infertile or something like that. Then that just changes and they adopt a child and do it in secret somehow. And then the king just ends up writing like this private, probably not officially approved note.
What the fuck? It's so random.
Yeah, he leaves this like Christmas clue in an ornament on a Christmas tree. And
no, alright.
there's a well, it's okay. It's tipsy talk, which means that we are slightly inebriated. So
Yeah,
there was a mispouring.
We're starting to sound drunk now, right? We can hear we can hear that too. Okay?
Yeah, exactly. But so anyway, the king, he just, before he dies, just writes like on a piece of paper like, oh, hereby I declare that my son can be king anyway, and puts it in an acorn. And then the reporter figures out the clue, takes it off the tree, and then runs into the hall to interrupt the marriage between evil Simon and the country of Aldovia.
No, like I mean, like it's great because this country has like no bureaucracy, and the word of the king is like law immediately. But it's also supposed to have a parliament somehow, like
yeah, yeah, like there's a prime minister.
Yeah, right. And I mean, like, okay, so alright, you have to adopt a little kid. So if this was like a medieval story in which the queen could like pretend to be pregnant and then, I don't know, like steal a baby from a nearby village. But no, they have adoption papers. He had a name before and he has a new name. So like, obviously there's a long line of people who know about that, like notary office, the court hall. I don't know, like there gotta be
the fucking postman. I mean, there's gotta be tons of people that know about this.
The prince's original family gave him a name, right? And they must know it's their child, right? Because they must look at him and be like, don't you think he kind of looks like us a little bit? And he's more or less the age the child we gave her is supposed to be. Like, there's no way that an adoption by the royal family or by any family, but especially by the royal family would like go unnoticed. And like also what happened? Like did the queen straight up like pretended to be pregnant for 9 months?
That's what
like,
I want to know
posed
too.
Like pregnant to everybody, like.
And then she had the younger princess anyway afterwards, so it's like.
Yeah, and also like okay, all right. So what happens then? The boy is adopted, so he cannot be king, so nobody can know, blah, blah, blah. So all the adoption papers are put away, and she finds them by mistake, and whatever, and
because she's so clumsy.
Oh, yeah, and oh my god, and it's also like, oh, she's falling in love with him, but she's still kind of committed to her reportage.
Yeah.
Her article, right? So she goes snooping around his life and finds his papers, and then she's conflicted, like, oh, but what should I do? Because I really want to have sex with him. He's really hot, but on the other hand, this could make my career and whatever. And her friends are telling her, like, girl, you gotta like come up with these documents. It's gonna change history. It's gonna make your like, it's gonna change your life, whatever. And she's conflicted about that. So what do you think you do in her place?
I mean, it's a fair little like plot point, like testing her character a little bit. But it's also, I mean, what is expected of this type of movie. She ends up trying to keep it a secret, but then the evil cousin and the ex-girlfriend discover it.
Yeah, they also discover it because, like, she's the worst fucking reporter in the history. Like,
yeah.
Man, she leaves this stuff, like, on the bed, like, spread on the bed, like that. And,
it's like, if this was secret stuff, but, like, confidential material, you would keep that hidden away, even if you're not staying in your own home. And even sometimes then, like, with sensitive material, it's like, of this magnitude, you don't just leave that just spread out all over the bed for any person working at the castle to come and find.
She straight up leaves the papers, like, on the bed, and then she needs to leave the room real quick to go for a walk and kiss the prince, right? And then the villains come in and they find the papers immediately, right? And but it also happens earlier in the movie that, like, she leaves her computer open and the little girl finds out who she is, and it was like, all right, girl, but come on, like,
so much of a plot is just based around people making stupid decisions.
Yeah, you have to accept that, like, stuff that happens in this is like soap opera level. It's a metaphor, You're supposed to fill in the gaps, with your imagination, because
they give you the bare minimum of explanation.
Yeah, it's the bare minimum stuff. It's bare minimum, and all right. So she leaves the sheets all over her bed. But what I'm asking is, what would you do if you were in her place? Between your career and the possibility of marrying the princess, who you are actually in love with. You're infatuated with her, so there's feelings involved.
I would keep that secret, because if I am in love with the princess, then it's like, I can be a stay-at-home man. I'll clean the palace. I'm assuming that I'm set for life, and I can turn you to my own company or stuff like that instead.
Yeah, but you know what happens in The Christmas Prince 2?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, no, because she's a reporter, right?
Mm-hmm.
So don't you relate to the main characters? There's a lot there for you to relate to, mirror yourself. But all right, so she wants to keep a blog.
Yeah.
And they don't want her to keep her blog because it's a security threat, obviously. Just like they did with Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, right? Or they force you to take down your Instagram account. And so do you think that it would be worth it to leave your life as a reporter and never report on MMA again, stop commenting, in order to become just the husband of the Queen of Moldova? Also, you have to go live in Moldova, huh?
Okay, that is a...
But you live in Sweden right now, so I don't think Moldova would be much of a...
Yeah, probably not.
No.
I don't know. I have actually been at points in my career where somebody has accidentally divulged information we're not supposed to.
Oh.
And if I wanted to, I could have gone out with that information, but I probably would have, if not ruined that person's career, then at least gotten them into a lot of trouble. And I decided not to divulge that. I prepared an article and information to go out with as soon as it was official, so that I would be first one out. But I didn't. I could have released that a long time ago and probably gotten a lot of credit and recognition and stuff like that. But I couldn't have done it on the expense of somebody else that way.
No, that would be a jerk move, and also, in the context of the movie, it's of course you would made her career, but like the prince would have to, besides losing the crown, which is a thing that maybe he was not so into it at all.
Yeah.
But like also find out that you're adopted very publicly. Yeah. While losing your position in the world, while it's not your parents who told you, it's like the press, like the chick you like, who went through your shit and found it and published in the press, and he was already like a kind of like heartbroken because his ex-girlfriend had done kind of the same, where it sold stories about them to the paparazzi.
Yeah.
So that's the conflict between them. I don't know if she's gonna break the story or not, but it doesn't matter because before she can make this decision, or no, it's presumed that she would decide not to rat on him because she's not that kind of girl,
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's framed as somebody with a good heart. And
she would never do that.
Because all the good characters are 100% good, and there's no nuance to anything.
There's no nuance. So she doesn't. She thinks it's wrong. She talks to her friends about how it's wrong. And her friends are like, "No, you gotta do it." Blah blah.
Go do it, girl.
Yeah, but they don't know how sweet the prince is. They don't know
how much
his
charisma
heart.
He's supposed to have, but isn't actually reflecting in the film.
They don't know how much he was intended to be lovely.
Exactly.
He's
how wonderful he was written as a character.
Exactly. In the mind of the writer, fuck, he was so sexy. But yeah, in the movie, he's alright. He's an alright guy, perfectly fine guy, and alright. She doesn't wanna hurt him, which is nice. And but yeah, the Simon. So yeah, we get to the coronation in the town house club, right? Mm-hmm. And the prince is there, and they do the coronation vows, like wedding vows, and so they ask this if you have something to say against that, speak now or forever hold your truth. And yeah. And
she runs in classic movie fashion at the last second and stop.
First Simon and what is her name? Evil ex-girlfriend. They come in and they're like, no, but he cannot be king because he's adopted. And oh my god, no. So yeah, like that's bad. So everything is fucked, right? Because he loses the crown, and the villains won, and they're gonna be Simon's gonna be king, and she has no, and she doesn't know what to do, blah blah blah. She gets sent home because she indirectly was the one who brought this to light.
Leaked the information.
Yeah, there's suspicion over her, so she thinks she really hurt this dude that she's in love with. He thinks she messed up, So it's sad. She's going home. She calls her dad, and then she realizes something very fucking random. Alright, so in the beginning,
something that he says that relates to the Christmas poem or something like that the king had written. And she sees between the lines that his random note on a piece of paper saying like, hey, my son should be king anyway, that it's in a Christmas tree. And
yeah, like in the beginning of the movie, the somebody comes to the queen and it's like, oh, so this is the ornament the king made last year. And it's a freaking gigantic acorn. Like, very not quite like not like super nice ornament. It's just like I kind of looked at it and I was like, okay, so I would hang this on my tree just to be nice.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really look really good. So but the queen's like, oh yeah, of course, the Christmas acorn.
And they also put such an emphasis on the fact that the king loved making things by hand. It's like, oh, he wasn't a little better.
Yeah.
Like he was working.
Wow. He could have hired better tutors.
Did he really put his heart into it?
I mean, like, it was just a thing he did often because, like, it was very ugly fucking acorn. And they go and, like, hang this on the tree. And then later in the movie, when they are, like, in the king's cabin, she finds a poem. And the poem talks about the acorn. It talks about Christmas ornaments, whatever. The poem says something like, go fucking open the acorn. The plot is over there.
Yeah.
she realizes the plot when she's in the airport going home. So she comes back, invades the palace, and they totally let her back in because whatever they do, Aldovia is just this kind of place.
Yeah.
So she goes and
where security is just so embarrassingly lax.
She assaults the queen's Christmas tree.
Yeah.
Like, in my house, this would straight up not happen. For somebody to get as far as to like take something out of my Christmas tree, I would stop them before, but in Aldovia nobody stops them.
Yeah.
And she just pulls the acorn, and inside there is a decree that the king did not think about passing it through parliament or having it officially published or signing it at all. He typed it, wrote it by hand in a post-it, and put it inside an acorn.
Could easily have been forged, like.
Yeah, there is no way, there's no explanation, makes no sense the fact that that document is valid at all.
And a reporter girl brings that, stops the coronation of the evil cousin in the last second, and goes back home because she's still sad that she, released that information. And it's New Year's. She doesn't want to go out with her friends. She wants to stay at home.
Yeah, also because that type of girl, me, if I just lost the love of my life, who's also the prince of some foreign country, and my friends were like, so do you want to go out and continue drinking? I'll be like, yeah. Totally. But she's like, no.
I'd rather stay and work at the diner.
Yeah, no, but I was like, no, I have to help my father at the diner. I would be like, Dad, I mean, like, I love you, but can't we do this tomorrow?
Yeah, can't you give me a break on account of...
It's the 1st of January, please, it's a global holiday. I'll clean stuff tomorrow. And also, like, my father being the person that he actually is and not the character in that novel, there's no way he would be like, expecting me to spend the New Year's Eve with him. Just in my family, that would never be a conversation. I'll be like, okay, it's Christmas, it's New Year's Eve, I'm gonna go get drunk, bye. But of course, she's a much better person than me because she marries a prince.
Also because she's written as a very two-dimensional character.
Yeah, whoever wrote me spent way too much time.
They wrote you for HBO.
Oh, that's so sweet. That's the greatest thing I ever heard. No, but I mean, like, I could have appreciated a life more like Amber, because she's like, no, I'm gonna stay and help my father. Yeah, all right. So the prince shows up to her father's deli, and he's like, okay, so marry me. So like, usually maybe some coffee first.
That was the most forced thing too. It's like, it's enough that he's just forgiving her for like, divulging that very sensitive information. Like throwing his life upside down, of his identity, family, almost getting his evil cousin sworn in as king.
Man, imagine what she would have done to the country. That's the thing. He can't forgive the person.
And she's been like secretly filming him and photographing him several times.
Not even trying to hide it at all.
And without having any contact or anything like that. There's not even like a letter that she sends to apologize or something like that.
No, lies about who she is, lies about her name,
And he shows up and he's like, hey, you're hot. Want to marry me?
You're hot. Let's buy a house in Portland. Yeah. No, it's like, of course I was like, okay, so like, I was surprised when he proposed to her, because you expect this romantic comedy to end with marriage, but it really didn't have to.
They didn't earn it at all. No. The movie's like an hour and 27 minutes long. It feels longer, but it also at the same time it feels shorter in terms of like actual character development and stuff like that, because like it's so quickly cut between any like human contact that it's like none of those payoffs feel earned.
But I kind of thought it was a little bit hot. I mean, the scene that they're in the snow and like this, and he falls on top of her, I was like, yeah, I'll buy that. But I guess maybe it's because I've been single as fuck. But I thought the scene looked alright. I didn't think the chemistry between them was too bad. And she's alright. She's fine. She's the perfect romantic lead. She's Perfectly.
Perfect is a strong word.
When I mean perfect, I mean like perfectly competent. Not like
perfectly competent is
not like
better.
perfect like Meg Ryan or Julia Roberts or like Reese Witherspoon. Or like, perfect in the sense like she's perfectly competent.
Yeah.
And
one might even say serviceable.
Yeah, I mean she does an alright job, you know, like she's perfectly fine, beautiful girl, and the prince is less than optimal. I would make the prince take the class again.
Yeah.
I'd be like, you were fine.
How to be, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, as we discussed it before, maybe not his fault, and
yeah, I mean, let's face it, this reeks of like just by the numbers studio. Just we want you to hit these and these notes. It's got to be under 90 minutes long, you know, so that if they send it, show it on TV, we can squeeze in a bunch of commercials. It's like, yeah, can't be complicated, can't have too much, like, everyone has to understand what's happening because people are going to watch it in the background. Yeah. So yeah, not a whole lot more to say. I guess we hit basically all the plot points because there's so little that actually happens.
That's the movie. That's the Christmas Prince. Sebastian loved it, and he's gonna watch it every Christmas from now on. And coming home, he's gonna watch the royal wedding, and then the baby,
and then
the Christmas baby, royal baby. Oh yeah, that's true. I wonder if it's a boy or it's a girl, because if it's a girl, the prince has to fucking change the bloodline law.
Exactly.
Because the little
so then
girl,
he has to scribble on a post-it note.
He has to hide the post-it inside of a Christmas ornament somehow.
Inside of a half-assed made Christmas ornament.
He can make it of Lego next time. I don't know. But yeah, guys, thanks very much for listening to me tonight.
Yeah, it's been nice talking Christmas movies. Those are our takes on Silent Night and A Christmas Prince. If you have any thoughts on those movies, by all means, let us know in the comments below. Taish, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for opening the space for me, Sebastian. I'll see ya.
Yeah,
Bye.
and we'll see everybody else. Bye-bye.
Bye.